and doing the right thing. Well, joining us today is Bob Chapman, who always helps us learn the right thing. And if you read his newsletter, you already know. You know what's going on because he sends it to you in advance pretty much of when it's going to take place. The International Forecaster is his newsletter. You can get a copy of it by going to theinternationalforecaster.com. You can get a free copy. A free copy to the subscription, and see if you want to take it, and I'm sure you're going to, by calling 877-479-8178, 877-479-8178. Bob Chapman joins us today. Thank you so much, Bob, for joining us in the Power Hour today.
Well, it's great to be here again, and I must mention that our new site address is www.intforecaster.com. That's intforecaster.com. And incidentally, the email address is bob@intforecaster.com. And so that's not too hard to remember. And anyway, I'm very happy to be here.
Oh, we're glad to have you join us today because it seems like the stock markets are up. The foreign markets are doing great. Asian markets, European markets, everyone's doing great, yet things are falling apart on the inside. How is it that we can have the stock market, what is the futures up 120-some points today already? And we haven't even opened the market. How is it that it looks like we're doing so well when we are suffering so badly?
Well, first of all, we have these, and I won't go into it because you have. We have distractions that call false flag operations, like the North Koreans thinking of a South Korean vessel, a person in Times Square who's going to blow it up, who's a terrorist, who is financed by the Central Intelligence Agency. And then we have, of course, the BP fiasco, which is a false flag operation. I can promise you that. And you bore that out, and all the facts are there. And you bore that out by saying that the possibility is there that that we have a. I was distracted. I'm sorry. That we have a ongoing problem, and of course, to show you how much they care about it, as you pointed out, the president and vice president are playing golf, and this other fellow who Haywood, who runs BP, is off of the yacht race when he was told not to go by his public relations people. We'll put it that way. Yeah, he was warned off. I get that out of London this morning around 3:00, and anyway, that's all it is. And you capped it with cap and trade. They think they're going to get this thing through. They're not going to get it through. The public knows what they're doing. And they're not going to get this tax through. And, you should see the spending that's going on in just the last 18 months. I've just written a paragraph, and I can't read it in the radio because it's a little too long. But if you put it all together, fiscal deficit spending, the Federal Reserve's creation of money and credit, the repo market, the money available, again, for leveraging by hedge funds and banks and others, you're right back where you were almost 3 years ago. They're doing the same thing over again, and they have no intention of changing. It's like someone who goes to AA and spends 3 months there and gets off the wagon and goes back and uses whatever chemical assistance that they use. These people have no concept of right from wrong. I saw Meredith Whitney on Squawk Box and CNBC this morning, and she said, they got 2 sets of books. They're broke. There's not going to be an increase in employment. And she says, I don't know where this is all going. And I got a report out of one of my people in Frankfurt this morning, and he says to me, Deutsche Bank and Hypo Bank are broke. Period. 2 of the biggest banks in the country. So, where is this all leading to? It's all leading to that money sloshing around that drives the stock market up every Monday morning, and every market in the world, I may add. And sometimes even commodities go up, and always gold and silver go down. Now, gold was up this morning, and it's about even right now. Silver's still up. It's going considerably higher. And anybody who hasn't taken advantage of Ted Anderson's Midas offer a free subscription to the International Forecaster and hasn't bought gold and silver coins and gold and silver shares if they can afford that, there's something wrong with them. With all the information that Joyce puts out and all the other programs on Genesis, if you have money and you haven't taken advantage of it and all the other things that are offered, you better see a psychiatrist.
Well, there's something wrong if people are thinking and banking on the banks to be there. They just don't know. Another few banks shut down again, and if it's only a few at a time, then nobody really notices. But just to let you know, gold is at $12.57, and silver is at $19.31 right now. It's been up at high of about $12.65 or 66 this morning. That's pretty amazing. And people do need to say, okay, I don't care how much it's going to, quote unquote, cost me. I need to have something involved in some kind of investment that is going to be there, because the 401ks, the retirements, everything are going to be gone. And I know that, well, you've been trying to work with people for forever to tell them, and they're very fortunate. I haven't talked to one person unhappy that they did what you told them to do. Not one. They are so pleased that they listened to you. And listen, it's time, listeners, if you have the money, do what he is saying. Now, let me go to this Russian issue of Medvedev, you know, now officially showing the Unity and Diversity coin, which, of course, we saw back in 2009, and everybody said we were crazy. It was a figment of our imagination. There was this new coin that was going to replace the dollar. Well, I don't know if it's the new Amero or not. I don't know if it's going to be the new coin for the U.S. But if Russia is calling for an answer or a substitution to the dollar, what is this really meaning to us?
Well, first of all, I think the Russians are stamping the coins in order to bring closer to the minds of people that the dollar is not a representative world currency. It shouldn't be the world's reserve currency, and they're right.
So is this posturing, only posturing that they're doing right now?
I think so. They don't know which way it's going to go. I think they would prefer that the top 20 or 40 countries would have a index for their currencies, and they would be weighted dependent upon debt and other things within the structure of the countries. And all of the major currencies together would form a unit to be used for trade. Russia's not calling for a world currency. They don't want one. I mean, they had enough of that stupidness during the Soviet era. I mean, you know, I used to intercept conversations, and I used to record them. Of course, they were in Russian, and I didn't speak Russian or Croatian or Serbo-Croatian or Polish or all of these other languages that we used to intercept. But we had guys that did do that. And they come up and say to me, Bob, you won't believe this. And one guy saying to another in the KGB, I can't believe how stupid this system is. Well, they don't want to go back to that. They learned how dumb it is to be a communist. I mean, socialism is bad enough. And so they don't want any part of that. And sure, there's always power structures, and they can be socialist, fascist, democratic. It doesn't make any difference. It all depends on who's running things and whether they have the good economic and financial prevailing things going on within their country which would make them solvent and a good place to live. And you know, Russians, since the wall went down, are doing very well. And they don't want to change that. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that the Illuminati has them hooked in. I really don't. And I know a lot about Russians. You know, I spent, 3 or 4 years chasing them around the world and at the top level. And so...
what does that mean? You spent at the top level chasing the Russians around the world.
Well, we would intercept all their communications.
Are you talking about military?
I mean, everything from bugs to CW, Morse intercept, radio printer, you name it, we did it. I mean, I worked under NSA for the Army, it was called the Army Security Agency. There was nobody in the whole outfit that had a high IQ under 150.
Interesting.
These people were the smartest people in America that they could get their hands on. And some of them, like Porter Goss, went to work for the CIA. He was in my outfit. And we were there used to be a saying, when the war starts, they move ASA out first, then the women and children. That's how valuable we were. And, of course, the people who worked with us, which were then NSA in those days, and NSA was only 3 years old. And the Central Intelligence Agency was only 5 or 6 years old. And they all worked with us, along with Naval Intelligence. And we fed everything into NSA, and they took the product which we produced, and they found out what the other guys were doing.